purpose of this video is to help you get familiar with the new TC Graphics. This is a brand new module that we're just introducing, and we're pretty excited about the possibilities and the capabilities of it. It's pretty unusual in the marketplace. We don't think there's too many other of our competitors that have a module like this. I'm going to start with a brand new job. I'm just going to name it Graphics. So we start out, most of the keys are disabled, and so the first thing to do is, if you want graphics, you hit the graphics button. I'm just going to pick, I previously entered 8.5 by 14, that's what I'm going to stick with for this example. And so this is a common sheet size, but of course you can go all the way up to the size of the machine, whichever machine it's on. Hit OK, and as soon as I do that, the other buttons come alive for the graphics routine, and it also draws a brand new sheet on the screen. Also, while we're stepping through this later, there's a little graphic here that helps tell you which way the sheet is to be oriented against the back gauge, so that helps as a reference. Notice the other buttons, like sheet division, is gone now. We disable the buttons as they're not needed or don't apply. Now in this case, I have a job that I'm thinking of. This is I'm going to divide this sheet of paper up into 3 main columns, and then each one of those I want to divide and have further sheets. Perhaps this could represent a sheet with a printed material, but maybe some pictures on it, or something where there's a unique pattern that I'm cutting this to. So this is again an 8.5 by 14 sheet of paper, so I'm going to start off with a 13.9 inch cut. Now this cut, these are going to be columns, and I want to save each one of these columns as and I'm going to set them off to the side as they're cut, and then bring them back later. So I want to actually tell it to save this. And also, this is also a trim cut, so I like to enter my options before I hit the enter, because that means I only have to hit enter once and they all go in at the same time. If I did it a different way, if I hit 13.9 enter, then I would have to step back to that, because it auto indexes to the next one, just for ease of programming. My next column is going to be at 9 inches, and I also want to save that. My next column is at 4 inches. Okay, so those are my 3 columns. Now for the next cut, I'm gonna what the machine will do is it wants to pull back. This one is going to be left in the cutter, so that's the first one we're going to cut up. It makes more sense rather than moving the stock around. So I'll start off with a 5 inch cut, and I'm going to retrieve the pile. And I also, at the same time, all of these are going to be turned, so I have to tell it that I'm going to turn. Then I can hit enter, and notice how it draws it to the correct endpoint, because it's only cutting up that column. And to just continue with a 3 inch cut. Now in the next one, I'm going to move to the next column, and let's say I want to cut at 7 inches. I'll say 7 and then retrieve, because I'm retrieving the next pile. Otherwise it would continue making cuts in this first column. So I hit 7, let's say I got a 4 inch cut, and maybe another 2 inch cut. Okay, once again that column is finished. I want to retrieve the next column, so I'm going to hit 8, retrieve, and that's where my first cut position is going to go. And let's say for my last cut I'll have a 3.5 inch cut. Okay, when I go back through this, I can go back up and actually step through the orientation symbol comes up, and it will tell me whether I've got save or trim on each one of these. Also, if you were to enter, I probably could have done this when I was entering the cuts, but if you enter something that's outside the sheet, it'll draw it outside the sheet, and it should very quickly let you know that you're doing something that doesn't make sense. So it'll actually draw those kind of errors, which is a good thing really, because then you can go back and fix the program accordingly. As you're working through here, the cut line turns color to let you know what cut you're actually on and where it comes up in the picture. Okay, now at this point it actually turns the column green that you're on, so that you can visibly see very quickly which one you're on, and it also shows right now we're cutting this first cross cut. That's going to bring back the second pile, retrieve, and now the third pile. Alright, now assuming that I'm ready, I like this is what I want to go with, I can hit save and then run. At this point you could hit, I'm going to hit stop because I don't necessarily want the package to move. If you're in stop, it'll just step through the program so you can look at it, and it'll also draw the picture as you're going. If you leave it in run mode, it'll step the back gauge, and of course if you run the hydraulics, it'll actually make each cut. Gives you a prompt, set your cut, save pile. Again, we're saving this pile after this cut. After this cut, we need to bring back the pile, or it's actually already in there, and it tells you to rotate, and it actually showed the paper being rotated. Now it's going to it says bring back the saved pile, so reminding you this would be the second or middle pile that was in the original sheet. And now, of course, bring back the last saved pile. And we're back to the beginning of the program. So that, very simply, is how you might use the graphics program. The graphics program is available in looping. Looping is a very powerful feature of this program that allows you to do multiple cuts that are identical. Let's say you're cutting your sheet up into 2-inch strips, for example. The graphics will show that and will aid you in visualizing how you program the machine. So it's a very useful tool for programming, and then also to remind an operator later on when they're cutting. Perhaps several weeks have gone by and maybe you don't remember just exactly how you programmed it, and this would be a very quick visual reminder to let you know how the sheet would be cut. So don't feel free to play with it and try different things. It's not gonna, you're not gonna hurt it by pushing buttons and learning how they work. It's just a neat feature, and we want to encourage you to learn how to use it. Thank you.